Alright guys, what's going on? This is Manelki, and welcome back to my tutorial series for building levels for Doom with Doom Builder. There's a couple extra topics I wanted to cover in this slightly more advanced video. Just a few things I didn't get a chance to mention in the previous videos. I figured I'd go into in this one here. One thing I did leave out was deathmatch starts, which are kind of important. If you want to play your level in deathmatch, which is probably what you're going to want to do at some point, it's a simple matter of going into things mode and adding a deathmatch start. That's it. That's all there is to it. Hey, let's put one there. Let's put one there. Let's put one there. And let's put one there. And we'll angle them inwards for fairness so that they spawn. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed the video. No, I'm just kidding. So there's that. And with ZDoom, you can spawn bots too. So if there's nobody around to play with, you can always spawn a bot game. Now the bots aren't terribly intelligent, but it's something. And they can be kind of fun in co-op mode too. If you want to play just through a campaign, just by yourself, you can actually spawn a couple of bots, and they'll more or less play co-op with you. Again, they're not terribly intelligent, but you know, it's kind of something. It's kind of neat to play even with dumb bots. There's also a program called Unleashed, and what Unleashed does is it'll load your WAD files for you. It'll manage like save games. It'll load multiplayer games for you, because the way Doom works, it's a command line style game, right? It was designed like to be played in DOS originally, and to load maps and stuff, you'd have to use command line parameters, which, you know, isn't super complicated, but you know, once you get playing for a while and like doing it over and over again and trying to remember all your command line parameters, and when you're trying to do all this funky stuff, it would get irritating. And for today's audience, it's not acceptable. It's not doable. So you need a tool to manage all that for you. I'd recommend checking out a program called Unleashed, and again, I'll provide a link to the description below. It's a really, really good tool. It integrates with ZDoom perfectly. It's really, really handy, so that you'll use that to load your WADs and, you know, manage save games and manage mods and warp to levels and all the stuff you don't want to have to be typing in command line parameters for. So I definitely recommend that. Now there's another little thing, well, there's a bunch of little things, but that you can do. Let's say you wanted to do some funky effects. Well, we're going to talk about slightly more advanced stuff like special effects and custom architecture, just little things you can do with the engine that'll bring a little bit of life to your levels. So let's make another room here. Oops, failed. We're going to make kind of a narrowish corridor coming off this room here. And let's make another narrowish corridor here. Join them up. Now let's say you wanted to make some funky lighting. So what we'll do is we'll take the brightness down. We'll make it a little bit dark. Well, okay. I don't know, maybe not that dark. Yeah, we'll make it dark. And sometimes what you can do is you can make these funky corner lights, or you can add just little effects to kind of give dramatic lighting. And I find in games, particularly with shooters, lighting is so key. That was one of the big selling points of Doom 3, was its lighting effects. So let's try and emulate some of that here. So what you can do is not that. You can create, what I like to do is these little corner lights sometimes. So you can create this little angle on the wall here, and then what you can do is you can highlight these. Now how long are these? 22 and something or other? Yeah, whatever. We'll make a nice big one. So we'll highlight the line depth there. What we'll do is we'll pick a texture that looks like a light. What we're gonna do, yeah, we're just gonna put a light on the corner. It's gonna look really cool. This will work. So it's 32 by 168. So that's fine. We'll go into our 3D editing mode and find that corridor. So that's what that's gonna look like right off the bat. But that looks kind of dumb. So we'll do this. We'll kind of cheat the texture a little. There. That looks like one big light. Now, of course, I probably made this a little too big, but that, you know, that'll do the job. So what you can do now is actually, I wonder if I can, no, that's too bad. That was an unfortunate thing there. Maybe I should have done it a little bit different, but that's okay. We can get around it. So what you can do is go into line def mode. You can make another sector. We'll just kind of do it to like here, I guess, like that. And what we're doing is we're creating, excuse me, we're creating basically, oops, we're creating a just a beam of light, more or less. Right now this looks a bit goofy because this line was in the way, but that's okay. So right now we have is a fairly clumsy looking sector, but I mean I I probably could have done that better, but you get the idea. So just kind of trying to show you. So right now the light level for this whole corridor is, as you can see, it is 112. But what we can do is we can take it up for these two sectors we just did. Take it up to like, I don't know, 192. And did I do that right? Nope, I didn't. Let's try it again. Oh, I put the floor height. Whoops. Actually, hold on. What's the floor height here? Yeah, it's 0. Sorry. Whoops, my bad. Not paying attention. Light level. That's what we want. There we go. So now when we come into this, what we have is this really cool, hey look, there's a corner light here. And you can do this a couple times throughout the corridor and it'll give you this really cool dramatic lighting effect look. You can even feather it a bit if you really want to get fancy. Like what you can do is, okay, you've got the light there, right? So maybe you can, what you can do here is you can create like another thinner one here, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So you can kind of do something like that, and then same thing on the other side. You can kind of create, oops, sorry, click fail, and then, you know, like you just kind of do that. Now I'm not gonna, I guess I could go into vertices mode, make a vertice, put it there, and you kind of get the idea. And you can kind of like, let's say, what did we say, 196? So we'll put that to 196. Oh, whoops, sorry, we don't want 196. We want, like, let's say 170 or something, right? So it's not quite as bright. Actually, we'll go to like 150 just to make it a little more pronounced. We're just kind of basically trying to feather off the light, so it's, you see what I mean? Like it's brighter in the middle where it probably should be, and sorry, not quite as bright near the edges. So you can play around with doing stuff like that, and you can even do it the other way too. You can create almost a gradient where it's brighter at this point and not quite so bright at the edge here, just by creating more sectors and just altering the light level of them as they go. So that's one little trick you can use. It's kind of a neat trick when you can play around with that, and it's amazing what you can come up with doing that sort of thing. Another fun thing is a rising staircase. Now this is kind of a staple of a lot of Doom levels. A lot of Doom levels will have these rising staircases. It's really cool. So you start with nothing basically, and you press a button and a staircase will rise out of the ground to allow you to access something that's high. So that's kind of a lot of fun to play with. So let's add one to our level here. Let's put one outside. Yeah, we'll put one outside in the little courtyard here. So what you do here is you go into line defs mode and you just start drawing your stairs. I'm going to do 16 by 128 because why not? And we'll just make 5 stairs, I suppose. 5 sounds good. I guess you could draw them together, but I don't know. I try and not do that as often as I can. Sometimes it's hard to not, but I like to not as often as I can. So once you have your stairs here, the first thing you need to do is make sure your line defs are flipped the right way. So for this staircase thing to work, you need, if we're going to go this way, we're going to start here and we're going to raise it up going this way. So you need all of the lines facing towards you, like facing towards the first step, except for the edge of the very last step. So this is all good except for this one. This guy needs to flip. So it's going to raise up and it's going to see there's a line pointed in, so it's going to raise this one. And it sees there's a line pointed in, so it's going to raise this one, and so on and so on. Then it's going to get to here, and it sees that there's no line pointed in, which signals it's the last step, so it's not going to raise anything else. So the next thing we need to do is give it some textures. So because this is raising up out of the ground, we're going to need to add lower textures for stuff. So basically the front side of all this is going to need a lower texture. So let's give it some lower ash wall. Yep, that's fine. So now we have a whole bunch of texturized stuff. We don't need anything on the back. So the next thing we need is a button to activate our stairs. So let's make one real quick. It's kind of fun going into this 3D editing mode. I don't really use it much. I usually do most of my editing from this view here. But it's kind of fun. I don't mind messing with it once in a while. So we'll grab those textures there, and we'll give this one a button texture, because that's kind of important. And we'll line it up with the editor. Oh, here we go. No, that's pretty good the way it is. Yeah, I like that. Great. Maybe we'll move the button over so we can actually see the stairs rising. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is link the button to the stairs. So let's give this step a new sector tag. So it's going to be, the new one's 4, so that's fine. Now, you only need to work with the first sector, the first step of your staircase. The rest will just kind of follow on its own. It'll trigger the other sectors, so you only need to be manipulating the first step. So we'll make the first step sector 4. And then we need to change the flags of this line to match that. So we want sector tag 4. And we need an action. So, of course, we want stairs. And here's switch once, walk once, 8, or you can go 16 fast. Let's do 8 because it's a little bit slower and more dramatic. So we'll go switch 1 by 8, and then hit OK. And then as you can see, when you hover over this button, it shows you it's going to manipulate that stair. You can see it's flashing yellow when I do that. So what's going to happen is this is going to raise by 8 units. And then this is going to raise to its level, and then another 8 units, and then another, and another. So it's going to be 8 high, 16 high, 24 high, 32 high, 40 high. So that's how that's going to work. So because we know this is 40 high, and we're raising by 8 units, what we could do is place a platform here that's 48 high. And you can put something on it. But we'll show you how this works. So let's go ahead and give that a test. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot I put that guy in there for demo purposes. Alright, that's fine. So now when we hit this button, we should get stairs. There we go. Rising staircases in Doom. There you have it. So that's pretty cool. Another thing you can do, of course, like we just talked about, is you can create a box. There. That's, I think we talked about 48 high. And we will, of course, give it some textures. It doesn't matter which. So there you go. Now we can put something useful on there, like a power-up. There we go. Put a soul sphere up there. So now what we have is this lovely... Oh yeah, we'll need a texture there, I forgot. So on the back side of this guy, need some more of that. So now, just to give you an idea what that looks like in game, we'll have a quick test. Oh no! How do we get this soul sphere? Oh look, a button. And there we go. Nice and pretty. Yay, soul sphere. Alright. Enough horsing around. So there's some other stuff you can do. I mean, obviously there's tons of crap you can do. But you can also create custom architecture. You can create these little things that just you can place later. You can save things as prefabs up here, and you can import stuff. So like if somebody designs something really cool, like maybe what we'll do is we'll design a fountain or something. That's a pretty cool thing to do. So maybe we'll do that. Or there's any number of things you can do. You can make a sludge dispenser or a blood waterfall or whatever you want to do. You got options. Lots of stuff you can do. Let's make a fountain outside because fountains are cool. So what you do is, of course, line def mode. Now for this you're going to need a smaller grid, basically. So start by making an octagon. That's how I usually do it. Like that. Now we're going to need some more octagons. Just kind of concentric like this. And like that. So this is going to be the main wall, I guess, of the fountain. This is going to be the pool. And we're going to need yet another. So let's go ahead and keep drawing here. Something like this. Oops. It's not really the best, but it is what it is. Now you can get as fancy as you want with this and double layer it or whatever you want to do. You can add all kinds of, any kind of flair you want to this. Doesn't really matter. So I think the easiest way to edit something like this might actually just be in the funky 3D thing. So right now we have nothing. This is nothing, right? But what if we start raising things up? Oh, look at this. What do we have here? And, oops, wrong button. And then we can raise that up to maybe there, and raise that up to there. Maybe a little higher. Now we have a fountain. How about that? So these textures here will be some kind of marble. We need marble. I'm pretty sure you can search for marble. Yeah, there we go. We want this, actually. We'll make a blood fountain. Yeah, blood fountain. And then, oops, sorry, wrong mode. Then we can change the texture of the back of these. It's not really important which way they're flipped, but we'll just change the back for simplicity. And now we can give this a texture. Same thing, we'll give it that blood marble thing. Now, for a couple of these, we're going to change it. Because I think you can get, there's this funky, this guy here. Right there. So now when we go into here, what we're left with is this effect. So let's make this blood, because we want a blood fountain. And now this guy, let's change it up so we can see his blood face. We didn't make this tall enough. So let's make that a bit taller. And it probably should have been wider. But you kind of get the idea of what we're doing here, basically. It's a face spitting blood into a fountain. And, oh yeah, sorry, he's already done. So we just need to move this guy up and over a bit. Maybe, we'll give that a test to see how it looks in game. And, yeah. So here's our blood fountain, and it looks stupid because you can't see into it. So let's have another check. So let's just raise this. We went into the game and it was a little too high. So let's lower this down a bit and try again. There we go, that's a little more reasonable. So now as you see, we have a fountain of blood. Now you can get as intricate as you want with this. You can create really impressive looking fountains. This is the basic, bare bones, not terribly interesting fountain. But you can get as creative as you want. You can add little intricate pieces to it, and you can create some pretty impressive stuff. So that's the basic blood fountain in Doom. Now, another thing I like to do sometimes is I like to make sludge dispensers, or whatever you call it, nukage or poison dispensers or whatever. It's kind of a cool effect. So what you can do, let's move this over a little bit. In fact, let's put it right there. Put it on the edge. See how that looks. That'll do for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a fountain that's coming out of the ceiling. It's kind of a cool effect. So we'll go into line depth mode again. Oops, my bad. And we will draw this box here. And we're going to need a couple more vertices, so we'll add that just to round it out a bit. So we'll add a few vertices there, then we'll drag that out to make this effect here, this rounded thing. Now, what we'll do is we will add another thing in here, which I probably should have just rounded, but we'll have to fix that with vertices because I didn't bother to do it. So we'll put one there, and we'll actually need another one. That'll do. Yeah, that'll do. So we'll move that to here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this spot here and we're going to lower the ceiling all the way to the ground. So what is our ground here? Floor is -24. Alright, so we'll put the ceiling to -24. And that's going to scream out for some side depths. So there's a really cool texture in this game. And it's like dripping slime, basically. And so you can create this fountain effect. Here it is. And this one we're going to lower. What's the ceiling at? 144. So we're just going to lower, oops, wrong one, this one here. Lower the ceiling down by a few ticks like that. Maybe not so much. We can always edit it within the editor, which is probably what we'll do. So again, this one needs more side depths, and we'll give it some metal. This one will look good with metal, I think. Metal, there we go, yes. Let's have a quick look at what we have. So there you go. That's the basic idea of what we're creating. Obviously these textures are stupid, so we need to change. Let's just line that up. Now normally you could pick a different texture for this, so it makes the green slime effect here, but it doesn't matter for now. We'll change this to a more, whoops, wrong one, to a more metal-y look. Yeah. So there we have it. Oh, I must have raised, oops, I forgot to add that. My bad. So now that we have this, let's have a look at what it looks like in game. And here we have a sludge dispenser. So that's kind of cool. And you can add little flair to that all you like. You can you know, you can add another layer of metal here. What you can do is you can just create, well, let's make the grid a little bit smaller, so you can kind of create another octagon that's slightly larger, like that. Like, I'm not going to make it perfect, but you kind of get the idea. And so this is what, ceiling height 120, so let's make this ceiling height 90 or something like that. And then again, we'll give it textures, and you'll see what I'm doing here in a second. We're just making, whoops, we're making a little spout, more or less, for the sludge to come out of, so it doesn't look so stupid. So we'll clear that, drag this over a little bit. Okay. I'm just trying to make it look a little bit nicer. You know, I'm just being picky. So now you can put that in the middle, and basically the effect is you get this actual spout for it. So that's kind of a neat little thing I like to do sometimes. So there you go. There's a few advanced techniques for you. Hope you've enjoyed that. So feel free to experiment and mess around in your Doom levels all you want. There's an infinite number of things you can do. You're limited only by your imagination. So get out there and create some cool crap, and yeah, enjoy. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.